What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another Reddit video here on the Life Stories channel. My name's Dylan, and today we're going to be looking at some stories from the subreddit Tales from the Customer, so sit back, relax and enjoy the show. Sorry, your driver hid from you for 9 minutes, so the food now belongs to him and your $52 is ours. Have a nice night. So I'm going to talk about a food delivery app, one which is very popular and is an offshoot from another transportation company. Let's call it Boomer Beats. I order my food. It's over $50 of sushi for me and a friend. The driver's highly rated. Cool, my phone is across the room, my food is supposed to arrive at around 10:01 PM. I look at the clock and see, oh shoot, it's 10 exactly, better check my phone and see if the driver's looking for me. I have a notification that he arrived 6 minutes ago, but no missed calls. Odd. My phone was on vibrate, which I would have heard from across the room, so if he tried to contact me at all, I would have heard it. So it's crazy inconvenient and rude that he didn't call at all, not once, when he arrived. I have an accompanying notification from Boomer Beats saying that your driver can cancel your order with no refund after 8 minutes. I walk outside and text that I'm coming and ask where he is. Good thing it hasn't been 8 minutes, I have documentation of that fact, right? At this point I'm standing outside searching for him, sending him multiple texts and calling him multiple times. I can see on the app that he reads the text but no reply ever comes. Both the calls ring out to voicemail and I can't find his car because it's not outside my apartment building, meaning it's somewhere else in the complex. At this point it's obvious that the man is running out the clock. I keep walking around looking and finally spot it. Driving away. He drives right past me, I see his face and recognise him. I wave frantically. I'm in the road behind him and there's no way he doesn't see me. But he keeps driving. He cancels the order, my $50 of sushi drives away with this man, he now owns all of it. My order disappears instantly from the app and I lose all ability to contact him. I immediately call Boomer Beats customer service, and here's where it somehow gets even more ridiculous. The person I'm speaking to isn't just scripted, they're not even trying to sound not scripted. They start with, I'm sorry this happened to your order, what happened? I explained in great detail what happened. She seemed to absorb none of these details in a conversation so circular, it made me dizzy. She managed to repeat herself 7 times. It shows here that your driver waited over 9 minutes, so it's impossible for us to offer a refund. Yeah, and I couldn't find him for those 9 minutes because he never contacted me and dodged my calls once I checked and saw that he was there. And when he saw me, he drove away anyway. Does she care? Of course not. She repeats herself mechanically, zero listening. I ask if there's someone who can offer a refund, so she says, I can transfer you to my supervisor, and I go on hold for about 2 minutes. The line picks back up and who answers? The same woman claiming to be a supervisor. Call me crazy, I don't care, but this woman's voice was incredibly distinctive. I'm not a suspicious person or a disgruntled customer by nature, but both of my friends who were in the room listening at the time said, oh my god, is that the same woman? So there's no way it was someone else's. She reads from the same script, acknowledges nothing I say, and I wish her a good night and end the call. My friend tries calling since $25 of her sushi was also in the car, and she's annoyed. The call goes exactly the same way, and although she's much more insistent and persistent, it goes nowhere and this time they hang up on her. Call me crazy, but since I was literally unable to get my food despite trying very hard, I don't think my delivery driver waited for over 9 minutes. He marked his location for Boomer Beats, then hid from me so he could leave with my food. But none of these details matter to Boomer Beats. I ended up calling my bank to reverse the charge even though it was 11 at night. I had no problem explaining the situation to them and it was a very quick and pleasant call. Shout out to Chase Bank for actually listening to their customers when they get robbed by another company's delivery driver. Moral of the story, if you use food delivery services, make sure you have a good bank first. Major update, I got a refund. Yeah, well, I don't know if it had anything to do with the spreading of this post, but after about 5 repeated messages from their help section of the app saying that nothing mattered except the driver's supposed wait time, somebody finally refunded me. It only took 11 tries over the phone through the app, but I declare Boomer uncancelled, although they're still on thin ice with me. I actually had a boomer deny me a refund when the restaurant messed up the order because they are the website, they are not the restaurant nor the delivery company since the drivers are independent workers, I think was the quote. I simply emailed them the EU Distance Selling Directive text where it states that the seller is responsible for the delivery regardless of who does the delivery, and they did actually refund me. I'm gonna miss the EU. Oh well. You should have been here at 7 AM, although your appointment time says 9 AM. My vet has been after me to take my dog in to get his teeth cleaned. I made an appointment to drop him off and received a confirmation email of my appointment time being 9 AM. A couple of days before the appointment, I received another email reminder with 9 AM. I arrived to the clinic at 8:45 AM and check in with the receptionist. They ask me to have a seat and they'll come get my dog quickly to take him back. About 30 minutes later, after no one had come, I asked the receptionist if there was a delay and she responded, "Well, you should have been here at 7 AM, so since you're late it's taking longer." I replied that the appointment time I received and confirmed was for 9 AM. She refused to accept my answer and continued to say that it was 7 AM and it doesn't matter what I received. I politely sat back down to wait again instead of engaging in an argument. Shortly after, they came to take my dog back to clean his teeth. I spoke with the vet tech and they said that the reason for the 7 AM arrival was for blood work, but it wasn't a big deal and they'd get it done still. Before leaving, I looked up the email on my phone and of course it said 9 AM. I proceeded to try and show the email to the receptionist, who didn't even look at the email and instead said, "I don't have control over the emails sent, that's corporate." I responded that she may not be responsible for sending the emails, but she works for the company who does and she should be able to provide the feedback. She smirked at me and kept to her story that it wasn't her problem and it was my fault that I wasn't informed of the early arrival. The smirking is what sent me over the top. She began to act as if she wanted to physically fight, which was fine with me, but the lead tech came out to defuse the situation. Eventually I left to do a few errands whilst they completed the teeth cleaning. 3 PM rolls around and I begin to get worried that I haven't heard from the vet since 9. I attempted to call with no answer and after a few tries someone answered finally. I asked about my dog and they simply responded with, "He's doing good. He's been out to pee and they should be calling you soon." We hung up. 4:30 comes and I'm starting to get more and more upset that I have no idea what's going on. I tried calling and despite numerous calls I couldn't get through. I called corporate, who was also having trouble getting through. Corporate told me the only way to truly speak to someone was to go there. I tell the guy on the phone he better hope he gets a hold of them before I get there to warn them I'm coming because it won't be pretty. I drove 30 minutes with corporate still trying to get a hold of them. I park my car, get out of the car, walk up to the front desk and wait for the receptionist. Corporate comes back on the phone saying they still can't get a hold of them. I tell the guy, "I know, I'm right here waiting for the receptionist to stop ignoring me and I'm watching them ignore your calls." At the vet I ask about my dog. They haven't even completed the teeth cleaning. My dog had been kennelled for 8 hours for nothing. At this point my voice is raised and I'm not holding anything back. The same lead tech comes out to discuss with me and whilst I'm explaining that morning the receptionist, who wasn't there anymore, had argued with me about needing to be there for 7 AM for nothing, that wouldn't have mattered anyway whether I got at 7 or camped out in the parking lot, they couldn't have completed my dog's cleaning anyway. I also pointed out the fact that no one communicated with me about them not being able to get my dog. What does this vet tech do? She smirks at me. I couldn't contain the rage anymore. I started lecturing her about the smirking and the fact that the same behaviour is what set me off at the morning receptionist. She swore she wasn't smirking and apologised, but it was too late. I told her if they don't bring me my dog, I will go back there and get him myself. An employee in the store, the vet clinic is inside a pet store, who was leaving, stopped in his tracks and began watching the altercation between me and the lead tech vet. He stood there for about 5 minutes holding an empty water jug about 15 to 20 feet away. After I finished giving the vet tech a lecture, I returned to the employee and said, "Can I help you? You can keep it moving, this isn't a show." His response was to turn around and walk back into the grooming salon that was right next to the vet and pointed at me as he gossiped to his co-workers. Me? I waved and yelled, "Where's your manager?" He came back out and told me he was the manager and he was worried about the tech vet's safety. I turned to the tech vet and asked her if she felt threatened, and she replied no. I pointed out to him that it wasn't needed, and if he was so worried about her safety, he should have been much closer than 20 feet away for so long and shouldn't have retreated to his grooming salon when I called him out for gossiping. As I'm talking to him, a woman appears and asks what's going on. Guess what? She was the manager. I tell her that homeboy wanted to be an onlooker and then go and gossip to the other employees. She tells me he wouldn't do that, and I tell her at this point all I want to do is leave. All I want is my dog and I'm gone. They bring me out my dog while the manager, grooming employee and lead tech vet stand there. Homeboys tries to pet my dog. Excuse me, but you were just so threatened by me, so what are you trying to do petting my dog? Just don't touch him. As I'm trying to leave, the lady who runs the clinic comes out and tells me she wants to talk. I respond that I'm done talking and they've lost my dog as a patient. She continues to try and get me to speak with her, so I finally give in. I don't want to be rude to an older lady. As I'm describing everything I've been through, the incorrect time on the email, the receptionist with the attitude, my dog being contained for 8 hours for no reason, the lead tech vet smirking, the employee who couldn't mind his own business, she proceeds to tell me that they knew when I dropped him off that they weren't able to get to him because of another emergency. Say what? She also tells me that they're having a lot of troubles with the employee at the clinic, so she's upset at my experience and wants the opportunity to do better. She offers to clean my dog's teeth if I bring him in again, which I reply absolutely not. I've got problems with at least 2 of your employees and you want me to trust your team to take good care of my dog? You're crazy. I left and vowed never to shop at the pet store nor use the clinic or grooming salon ever again. Good riddance. And this experience is why my pets will never go to a corporately owned clinic of any kind. I just don't trust them. Private clinics all the way. Bouncer confiscates my real ID when I'm over 21. This happened when I was in my early 20s, though I did look younger. I was over 21. My girlfriend and I were at a coffee shop that we went to a few nights a week. One of her friends shows up with her boyfriend who was 19 at the time, and he'd just gotten a fake ID. There was a bar next to the coffee shop and he said he wanted to try it out, so I said I'd go with him. He shows his ID to the bouncer and he lets him in. I show my ID to the bouncer and he says, "This isn't you, this is mine now." Granted, I had long hair in my ID, but I chopped it all off. It was still obviously me if you compared faces. My family has very distinctive eyes. I asked for it back and then told him I don't really care about going in as I wasn't going to drink anyway. His response was call the cops with a smirk on his face, thinking I wouldn't out of fear, but getting in trouble with a fake ID. Well, it's not legal for a bouncer to confiscate a real government issued ID even if it's not yours. This was also a busy shopping centre and there was always a cop walking around for security, so I found the cop and reported the theft. We both walked over to the bar and the cop asked for the ID and he looks at me then hands it to me. The cop then looks at me and asks if I like to press charges. I say no, but the cop still proceeds to rip the guy a new one, saying how lucky he is that I'm not pressing charges and confiscating a government ID is a major crime. I think the cop was overly embellishing this. He seemed more pissed than I was. I went back to coffee with my girlfriend and the cop went inside the bar, I'm assuming to speak to someone in charge, as I never saw that bouncer ever again at that place. Well, I didn't know this was a major crime. I guess stealing a government issued ID is probably a felony, just like how stealing mail is a felony since mail is a government thing. Well folks, that's it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, leave a like rating down below and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.